Hey, it is Kayla again. We are back talking about some real life shit because, as usual, some real life shit has happened, and I am not. I am but an average human. So these real life things really affect me. There are a lot of moguls and gurus, and there's a lot of people on the in the podcasting world that are just a little they're just, they're above us plebeians. They have a lot more security and life vests in place than people like I do. People like probably me and you. So I'm just gonna talk about the real life shit that's been hitting the fan right now. I think I've mentioned that I have two jobs. One is a day job and one is at a restaurant. And I recently got laid off at my day job, which really, really fucking sucked. And yeah, I I've also talked about how I just got back on my feet after a lot of things. I had to borrow a lot of money. I've just started to pay that off, and now I'm back in the spot of needing to, you know, dive into the savings that I just started to create. So yeah, so we're gonna talk about how shit is hitting the fan a little bit and just getting laid off because I know a lot of people are going through that right now. I mean, it's always relevant, but getting laid off and the job search are particularly atrocious right now, and we're gonna touch on that. My initial reaction to getting laid off was just like absolute shock. I was sitting in bed working and I get a phone call from my boss who I work pretty much entirely self-sufficiently. I rarely hear from my bosses. And he called me and I could hear in his voice that something was up and I was like, "Oh shit." He was like, "Hey Kayla, um how are you? Blah blah blah." Blah, blah, blah. We exchanged pleasantries, and then he was like, "I just want to let you know today is going to be your last day working here." And I pretty much like blacked out at that point. I was just like, and then I watched my screen like log me out, and I was like, these motherfuckers. And I was like, can I ask why? And he just said that they were eliminating my position to cut costs, and that like there wasn't enough work to keep me on and be paying me what I was being paid. So another position in the company was going to absorb my duties. And I was just like, "Oh, okay, bye." Like literally like just was like on the phone. And yeah, so I just sat there and like immediately texted my mom, immediately texted my best friend and my sister who also works at the same or she just left the company. But texted them and was just like I just got fired, which I didn't. I got laid off, but that was the word I used. Um and I was just like um and I just immediately was like sobbing because like I just said, I just got on my feet. I just started, saving money again. I just started putting money into my like retirement funds again. And it was just like, damn, I am never going to catch a break. Um, and so Mama had a couple tequila drinks with one of her besties. And, we talked it out. I cried a lot more. And that was kind of it. I just felt like pretty numb by the end of that night. I was just like, okay, whatever. We'll figure it out tomorrow. I am lucky enough to have a second job that I can fall back on. Ow. So I'm very grateful for that. However, it's not enough money. Anyway, after that, I got really angry the next day because first I was just, devastated. And then it felt like the stages of grief or whatever it's called. At first I was devastated, and then I got really, really angry because it was effective immediately. It wasn't like, you got a few days, you have 2 weeks to, come up with a game plan. It was effective immediately. I'm losing my two-thirds the source of my income. And that just pissed me the fuck off. I, you know, I was like, I'm gonna tell all my friends to write a bad review for this company, blah 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 blah. Like I was so mad. I was berating my mom and my sister and my friend, like, fuck them, blah 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 blah. And then I got like really hopeless. The first day I was really angry, and then the next 2 days I just felt like so hopeless. Like a really deep sadness was sitting on my chest for a couple days, and I was just like going through the motions of life. And then my dad came to actually visit, which was such terrible timing because then I had to take off 5 more days of the restaurant job that I need to be working at more to supplement my income. But he came and he made me feel a little bit better. And honestly, that kind of put a fire under my ass again because honestly, I was at the point where I was like, oh, don't cry. Honestly, I was at the point where I just didn't, I still sometimes struggle with, like, I just don't even know what to do anymore. And no, and I still feel that way a lot, but I do have a little bit more hope. And, you know, my dad just keeps saying, you'll get your break, you'll get your break. And you've been having a tough go. I've been having a tough go for a while. Um, but his support and my friend's support have been really, really helpful. And even though it sucks and I have no idea what I'm doing with my life, I am so thankful to have good people around me because, like I've preached in so many of these episodes, like that is all you need. You need your people to support you and be there for you, because if I was going through this with no support system, I would still be laying in bed and probably not doing a single fucking thing for myself because that's just how it is. But I am getting up every day. I'm applying to jobs every day, even though I haven't got a single fucking email back or, whatever. The only things I'm getting back are rejections or just radio silence. But I'm still doing it. I'm still working. I'm still living my life and trying to create some semblance of normalcy and whatever. So it's been rough. It's been about a week. I was laid off on the 1st. So it's been a little more than a week. It's been almost 2 weeks. It's the 11th. No, it's the 10th. It's the 10th? I don't even know what day it is. I don't need to know anymore because I'm unemployed. So I'll say it again for a good measure. Make sure you build your support system because these companies don't give a fuck about you. No matter how many times they say we're a family, they're not. We're not a fucking family. Like, they don't give a fuck about you. And at the end of the day, if you don't have your job, you better make sure you got some people in place because this life shit is rough with nobody that you care about. So yeah, like I said, I'm just job searching right now and it sucks ass. And I know it does for everybody. There are people who are so much more qualified than me that aren't getting jobs. So I'm like, I'm so, but I'm we're hanging in there. We're hanging in there and hoping for something good. And yeah, if you have been laid off or are job searching right now, um, even if you have a job right now and you're just job searching right now, which is something I've been job searching for 11 months. Oh my god. I've been job searching for 11 months, with some breaks in between. The last few months, I haven't been applying too much. Or I'd say there was like a 2 month gap where I kind of wasn't applying. And then this last month, I've started applying because I just wanted to move up into something. And the job I was at previously really didn't have anywhere for me to go. Um, but now that I'm actively job searching again with much more vigor, I have a couple. I've got a couple tips about a couple just things to keep in mind because I know it feels. I know what it's feeling like out there. So without further ado, the first thing I would say is to be really consistent. And whatever consistent looks like for you, just be consistent. Get into the habit of applying to X amount of jobs every day because it's really easy to say I'll do it tomorrow and then a week goes by and you're not doing it. I have a bad habit of doing that. So I've told myself 10 jobs a day, every day. Well, more like 6 days a week, but like 10 jobs a day, every day. And those are like quality applications. They're not like I'm writing a cover letter very specific to that company. Um, and yeah, like I'm taking the time on the application. I'm not just, because I don't know what I used to do. I don't. This might just be me. Maybe everyone does that already. But what I used to do was just send out as many applications as I could, send the same generic cover letter, and now I'm not doing that. Um, and on that note, a great way to make a standout cover letter is to copy and paste the mission statement into ChatGPT and say reword this. And then so I have like a whole blurb about myself, and then I say respect and align your company's mission to insert chat GPT thing. And then I kind of go on about that for a little bit, about me specifically. And then I wrap up the letter. And that's a really good, it saves you so much brain power, so much time. God bless chat GPT. That also helps when they have more specific questions on their application. I think there was one today that was like, how do you exemplify our core values? And it was like, integrity, result driven, and something, something, something. And I said into Google, how do you like just basically write this for me? And it did. And I just, added a little razzle dazzle, made it sound less like a computer. And it helps a lot. Now I don't know. Don't take my word for it, but I don't think companies can check or can see if that's chat GPT, but I really, really hope not, because I've been using it a lot. Um, so yeah, stay consistent and make them quality job applications. As much as you can. I know that's exhausting, but in like 50 shitty ones, like 50 half-ass ones is not as good as 10 really good applications. And that usually takes me about an hour and a half, if that. And also, when I tell myself 10 every day, a lot of times I'll see, two more good jobs. I'm like, all right, I'll just do 12 today. Like, you kind of get in the zone and into it. But if you break it into a manageable bite of just 10, it's just an hour a day. It's just this, like, that's so much more manageable than like just saying I need to apply to jobs today. Another thing that has been so helpful to me, even though it's only been the day, like 2 days after I got laid off, I made a post on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and I said essentially like I got laid off. This sucks, but I'm doing everything I can to look for a new job. If anybody has any tips for me or can refer me or can help me out or just anything, I will take any help or any advice, anything. And the outreach I got was, and I have like 400 friends on Facebook, which is like pretty much nothing, um, in this day and age. And I got so many people that I barely know, and some people that I'm really good friends with, but they reached out and they were like, "Hey, like my company, blah 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 blah." Like so many people, at least 10 people sent. I mean, that's a lot to me, especially when they're pretty. Like some of them were strangers, um, and or essentially strangers, and they were like, hey, like da da da, I'll refer you stuff like that. So it's really embarrassing, or it felt really embarrassing to me to admit that I got laid off, and be asking for help essentially, and it feels desperate and embarrassing, but shit, I am desperate. Like I am a little embarrassed, but asking for help is way better than letting my ego get in the way of a potential opportunity. So that's the tea. Tell everybody. The restaurant I work at currently. I told this regular that I have last night, and she was like, "Send me your resume. Send me what you need as a base salary, and I'll keep my eyes and ears out open for you." I've sat on this woman maybe 4 times. And she talked to me this morning and was like, "Yeah, I'll send it around. I'll keep my ears open." Like, tell everybody. It sucks. It doesn't have to be a sob story, but when people ask how you are, be for real. Be for real. Like, I just got laid off, but that's what I said. I just got laid off, but I'm figuring it out. When she asked how I was doing, and I was just like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, what kind of work are you looking for?" And we just kind of went into that. So it doesn't have to be you having a pity party, but just mentioning it to people like, "Hey, like I did get laid off. If you hear anything," I had several friends in HR that I didn't know, and they both offered to help me look at my resume to beef it up. Tell everybody, any little bit of help you can get is good help. It's not embarrassing. Screw your ego. Take the help you can get right now, because this is the time to ask for help, especially if you're in a position like me and you like lost 2/3 of your income. Just think of it as having that many more eyes and ears looking for you and hearing for you. Even if they're only half listening, like, or 2/3 or like 1/3 of the way listening, it just takes that one friend to like hear a friend of a friend say, "And we're looking for someone like this," and then they think of you and blah 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 blah, and they send you the link, and you never know what can happen. So tell everybody, don't be embarrassed. It's not embarrassing, and just get over it. Honestly, even if you think it's embarrassing, get over it, because the help is way more helpful than suffering in silence. The next point I wanted to make is, before I even got laid off, I think I mentioned already, I was job searching already because I wanted a new job, where I had more opportunities to grow. And I got a job offer, and it was a company I previously really wanted to work for. And it was a pretty good offer. I would be making a little bit more than what I was making at this job. Some of there were some quirks, and I was like, um, but it was the very first offer I got, and I was like, I don't want to take this out of desperation. Like, let me sit on this. And I sat on it. They offered to me. I sat on it for about a week, and just something in my stomach was telling me that it wasn't, this wasn't it. And it was really hard for me to follow my gut on that, because one, like I said, it's the only job offer I got in, at that point, 9 months. And two, you know, logically, there was no reason for me to not take it. It looked good on paper, yada yada yada. Um, and so I went into an interview or not an interview. I told them I had some questions about the position, before I accepted the offer, and I asked my questions. And then I also asked for a few grand more than what they offered me, because who doesn't try to get a little bit more money? But I felt I was I'm always very respectful. Um, and I was just like, "Hey, like, I have these questions, and then also, if you're open to it, I'd like you to consider this much, because I'm making this much right now, and it would really help me out to have this extra money, because I would have to quit my second job." And so he was like, "Okay, we'll get back to you by the end of the week." And then the end of the week comes, and I get an email at like 5 in the morning, just terminating the offer. It was just in a generic email. It wasn't like from a human. And I emailed them immediately when I woke up at like 7 a.m. I was like, "Hey, like, what's this about? Like, what happened here?" Um, and she was like, "We're no longer offering you," the HR person, not the guy who was hiring me, but the HR person was just like, "No, sorry, like, we're retracting the offer." And so, even though I was like bummed, I also wasn't bummed, because I felt like, I'm really glad I listened to my gut, because if this is how they act about me asking about, like, I asked about, like, I had a vacation booked for Christmas already, and I was like, "Hey, like, I just want to make sure it's okay if I work remotely these days. Like, Is there any way like we can like can we guarantee that? That's the one thing that I said. And then I asked about something else, but nothing like crazy. And then the raise or the, a few grand more. And it was still within the range of what they were offering. The range was like 50 to 60. They offered me 55. I asked for 60. And so I like it wasn't like I was asking, like I was still in whatever. Whatever. Uh, they're a freaking loss. But anyway, my point is don't take the first offer. It might be a good offer, but don't just like hop on it. Think about it first. Be like, am I, grabbing this out of desperation, or is this really a good job? Because I feel that if I took that position, I would have hated it. And based off how they were like, how like that's so unprofessional to me to just like can't like terminate the offer and with no explanation. I was like, okay, you could have just said no, and then I might have still taken the job. Anyway, kind of on that same note is you can't fuck up an opportunity that is meant for you. And that can sound a little woo woo, and there are two ways of thinking that, or there's two ways of looking at that statement, which is that's a load of bullshit. Like you need to work hard and do this and do this and do this and this. And then there's the other way of looking at it, which is if you work hard and something still doesn't work out, it wasn't meant for you. You didn't necessarily do anything wrong. And even if you did do something wrong, maybe it was the universe kind of like nudging you on purpose to do something wrong so that you can get something better. The way that they say, like, sometimes they don't give you what you want so they can give you something better, the God or the universe or whoever it is. So I like to think that because and that's like in this job scenario, this job offer scenario that I just said, I don't think I fucked anything up there. And even if I did, then that wasn't meant for me. And I don't feel I even though everything about that job looked good except for these few things, I still felt in here that something was not right. And I believe I made the right decision. And even though I'm feeling like, okay, where the fuck is the better thing, universe? I think it's coming, and I think it's coming. And that's not to say that like other people might say, no, you need to work hard and do. And I'm not saying you don't need to work hard for the opportunities to come to you. I'm saying very much you need to work for the things that you want. Um, but regardless, I think life has a way of pushing you or putting the right things, whether they seem like bad things at the time. I think everything is put in your life for a reason to teach you a lesson. It's put in your life at the right time. And though you might not understand it when it's happening, it's supposed to be there. Lastly, most importantly, it is okay to feel like absolute dog shit about this. It is okay to cry and like sit in bed for a couple days and just, feel the feelings that come along with such a devastating blow. I think a lot of people would tell you, like, get up, tighten your bootstraps, and like get back out there. And absolutely, yes. But like, give yourself a minute to grieve, like, what the fuck just happened because your life just changed. You just lost money. Maybe you don't have savings like me. Like maybe you don't have the back. Like, I'm lucky enough that I have parents that if it came down to it, they would help me out. They would, do whatever my parents would help me as much as they could. And a lot of people don't have that. Allow yourself to feel fucking bad. Allow yourself to feel the feelings because you're not going to move on until you do. And I let myself feel, I just freaking almost cried right now. Like, I let myself feel shitty about this because it is shitty and it sucks. And it doesn't get better for a while. And the feelings come in waves, and you're reminded rejection letter after rejection letter where you're at in your life, and it sucks. But letting yourself feel is way better than pushing it down. I think we all know that. Just don't let it define you and don't let it defeat you, that's when that becomes a problem. Because it's really easy to just fall into that, like, you know what, fuck it mindset. And we don't want to go there. We want to get into the goddamn, this sucks, but I'm going to use this as fuel and motivation. And this is the fire under my ass that I need. And that's kind of what I'm using it as now, because I'm more motivated than I was a couple weeks ago when I had a job applying, because I knew I didn't want to be in this company anyway. And now I'm like, all right, now let's really figure it out, because my mindset right now is money motivated. I want to make money because I have plans to do with that money. I don't want to stay in a company forever. I have plans for what I'm going to do with that money so that I become more self-sufficient and I can run my own business. And yeah, and now this kind of relit that fire of, you got kind of comfortable where you were at. Let's do something about it, cuz now I'm hella uncomfortable. I am so uncomfortable. But it's a good thing because it's making me do something. I hope you got a single thing from this. I hope you feel less alone if you are going through a layoff, or if you've been job searching for a while and it's not working out. Um, yeah, I feel for you hard. I know it fucking sucks. I know. And if you don't have a support system, I feel for you, my brother. Like, I get it. Um, but it will get better. Don't let this shit defeat you. Again, keep overcoming, always survive, never fight the desire, but also chase the desire. Don't be embarrassed. Tell everybody. Keep you. That's free advertising. You have people's eyes and ears out looking for you. Um, and remember, you can't fuck up what is meant for you. So I hope that brings you a little bit of joy, peace, and hope. Because yeah. Anyway, I have work in about 20 minutes, so I'm gonna go. But it's been real. See you next time.